Hello everybody and welcome back to the Bourbon Bar. I'm Holden and Happy New Year to all of you. So 2023 is hopefully going to be great, and I gotta say it's off to a great start with the bottle that I'm going to be reviewing today, and that is Larceny Barrel Proof Batch A123. So as you guys know, there's 3 batches a year, A, B, and C. That is 1 for January, 5 for May, and 9 for September, creating the anagram A123 is first release in January of 2023. So that being said, you guys should already know what this is. Larceny Barrel Proof Heaven Hill product, their wheated mash bill, the cousin to the notorious Elijah Craig. Larceny's typically for me have done very well. I personally like wheated cask strength bourbons from what I can tell. I like wheated bourbons in general, so obviously I would like them in cask strength and that type of thing, but I have been known to like the Elijah Craig's a little bit better, even though I always consider these a very close second to that. But that being said, this particular release is 125.8 proof, so hitting up there at 62.9% alcohol. Most of these are around 6 to 8 years old, and they're usually pretty great whiskey. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this into the glass. I did do this on a live stream on Tuesday, and at first I was iffy about it, but then I let it open up with some air before I actually got to the tasting portion. So I did let this open up a little bit before I poured it into the Glen. So that being said, I have the Glen and I'm gonna get it right on the nose for you all. Okay, first thing initially is just like that fresh bready aspect. What I get when I drink wheaters is like a very nice fresh bready aspect. It's almost doughy, like a doughy bread type aspect on here. It's got very desserty type nose on it, kind of like a peanut brittle-y aspect along with some spice on it, definitely some nutmeg here on the nose, and I think it's just got like a peanut buttery aspect on the nose, which is something that I thoroughly enjoy. A lot of oak on this one too. Most of these tend to be pretty oaky, seeing as a cask strength, and they have like usually a decent amount of age on it, but it's usually pretty dark whiskey with some nice heft and oak to it. Nose isn't overly complex, but it does have some of those sweet things in there, like a little bit of butterscotch and a little bit of brown sugar as well. Overall, I have a feeling that this is going to be great on the palate because it is, in fact, great on the nose. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and taste it. Okay, so here's a stitch. The thing about Larceny Barrel Proof compared to Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is that this is in fact a wheater. So there's a little bit of a different profile, but that is one of the only things that really differs between the two, because when it comes to quality and viscosity and body compared to the Elijah Craig, this tends to be up there with the Elijah Craig's. It definitely always has body. It always has good mouthfeel, good flavors to it, and the palate of this one didn't disappoint. So this had a lot of that like nice oak in there on the palate, and then the finish, it had like these like red hots, like cinnamon red hots on the finish coming back up, which is really nice. And it's definitely warm too, Kentucky hug all the way down, and it's just staying with me right here, which is what I like. But we're gonna go in for a second sip and let you guys know how it is. So on the up front of the palate, the initial of the palate, I'm getting a little bit of fruit in there. I want to say that there's a cherry aspect and maybe like a little bit of a blackberry thing going on. But it turns out really nice with like the rest of the stuff going on between the cinnamon and the oak kind of on the back end, but starting off with that nice delicate fruitiness on the beginning. It definitely has like the flavors that I want, and it's pretty rich. So that being said, it's time I grade it. But before I do that, let me know in the comments, guys, if you like Larceny Barrel Proof or if you'd rather just stick to Elijah Craig. Alright guys, time for the grading portion now. It is the beginning of the year, so maybe I have some new watchers. So if you don't know how this works, I do a grade on the nose, a grade on the palate, and a value for the money. That will create the overall grade out of 10 points, decimals included. So on the nose of this one, I have to give it an 8.2 out of 10. The only reason being is that in the beginning it kind of gets an astringent-y note to it, like an alcohol, ethanol-y note to it, which I didn't love, but after opening it up, it definitely mellows out and some of the alcohol evaporates out of the glass and the nose becomes really nice, but I still have to dock it a couple points there. However, on the palate, I'm gonna have to give it an 8.6 out of 10 because the palate is really nice. It's like got everything I want. It's got the spice, it's got the fruit up front, it's like a journey, and the mouth feels great, the finish is great. So the palate definitely does not disappoint at all. Now, the value for the money of this was $57 I picked it up for. Our MSRP is $60 or whatever. The store that I usually go to tends to keep it a little bit cheaper than other stores, so I got it for $57. Now, for that price, $57 or $60, for that price range, this gets a 9.0 out of 10. That's honestly really good. Value for the money, it's hard to get better than these Heaven Hill barrel strength picks, than these Heaven Hill barrel strength options, because it's just like, for that price point, you're paying $60 for something that's 6 to 8 years old at 125 proof. And it's like, it's usually pretty good. I mean, I would buy one of these every time I saw it without a doubt, knowing that it would be good whiskey. So all of those added together, divided by 3, and that creates the overall points, and that is an 8.6 out of 10. So this whiskey overall gets an 8.6 out of 10. Now, that's pretty good. First bottle of the year, I can't complain with an 8.6 out of 10. There's going to be a lot worse, and there's going to be probably, fingers crossed, a lot better. An 8.6 out of 10 is pretty great. But on Patreon, guys, I put out a video that is going to be Larceny A123 versus Larceny A122 in a double blind. So it's going to have 2 of them are going to be A122 or A123. I won't know which it is, but one of them is going to be the opposite, obviously. And then I'll go through, taste them, see which one I like better, and then that will determine who the winner is. Now, if you guys are wondering where you can get on my Patreon, I have a link down in the description. I have either $2 or $5 tier options, so you guys can hopefully support me by clicking on one of those. Go check out all the exclusive content that I post on Patreon. But that being said, this is the end of the video, guys. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Comment in the comment section if you like Larceny Barrel Proof, or if you just prefer Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next class.